So we are back with 10 more amazing looking mods that never actually got released. So I made a few iterations of this series. If you want to see any of the previous videos, I will have a link to those at the end of this one. But my main idea behind the series was to actually show you guys some cool concepts or cool things that were work in progress, but you know, for whatever reason, whether it be timing, real life obligations, or just loss of interest, they never actually were finished and subsequently released by mod authors. Since starting the series, actually a number of the mods I did cover have gotten updates to them, which is something pretty awesome to see. As kind of a rule of thumb, everything you're seeing in the background is at least 6 months since its last update. Typically a lot of these things are actually a bit older than that, like a year plus since its last update. If you guys enjoy the content and you want to see more stuff like this, you can leave a like or a comment below. In addition, I actually released a new t-shirt recently. It's kind of a simple skyline of the Commonwealth from Fallout 4. There's going to be a link to where you can get that at the top of the description down below. But with all that being said, let's just jump into the video. Start things off, we have one that is actually looking pretty cool, and that's going to be the CYBERPUNK 2077 helmet in game. If you don't know, CYBERPUNK 2077 is the up-and-coming game from CD Projekt Red. Some recent rumors make it seem like we're actually going to get a fuller and more proper announcement at this coming E3. But either way, this is a work in progress mod by Trophy Hunter. He's made a lot of other really cool content for Fallout 4, like the MP40, which actually had a lot of cool customization options. He's still a pretty active member of the modding community, but for whatever reason, he kind of moved on from this project. I love the look of this. I think it has a really nice aesthetic and vibe. This is actually the second image set we got of this. We got some earlier ones where it was still a work in progress, but these are actual in-game shots. I imagine as we get closer and closer to a potential release or proper announcement for CYBERPUNK 2077, we may see some of that content make its way into Fallout 4, whether that be from Trophy Hunter or a different mod author. Either way, it's something to get excited for. So we have a super simple backpack, but this is one that I just personally really loved. Maybe other people would feel differently, but I just thought it had a really nice aesthetic going on with it. It was clean, simple, and it looked like something that would fit with a lot of different characters. It also looked very realistic. It looked like something you would see in the real world. We only ever got this one image, and it was actually the only image this mod author ever posted on his Nexus account, so maybe he just kind of abandoned modding as a whole after playing with the idea for a little while. But either way, we are left with this image that I personally think looks cool. I would love to have seen other variants of this, like a camo option and some of the other major factions from the game. But either way, this is what we're left with right now. This would actually honestly make a cool backpack even in real life. This is one that actually really bummed me out. This is going to be I Am Machine by Newermind43. Newermind43 is another mod author that is still pretty active in the community, posting a ton of new content and really known for his armors and power armors. This one looked like it was going to be almost an exosuit style of armor, something that is quite a bit different. I like this because I felt like it could be cool either way, whether this be like a new power armor frame or something like that with power armor, or even if it was just a regular looking armor. I think exosuits are a really interesting concept that I wish was explored a bit more in Fallout 4. Power armor is in effect a exosuit, but maybe something that's a bit more condensed, or maybe even some new power armor frames, since those two are so rare in the game. Then we have the Recharger. This was a piece of equipment originally from Fallout New Vegas, and there's an interesting concept behind it. It's not the most powerful piece of equipment, or not the best in any category, but it was ammo-less. Basically, it would recharge automatically after a certain amount of seconds, and then you'd be able to fire it yet again. This is part of the larger mod, the Wasteland Overhaul, which was like the precursor to the original Fallout 4 New Vegas, and that got cancelled and had internal problems, and now we have the new Fallout 4 New Vegas. There was a lot of cool content for that original mod, Wasteland Overhaul, but again, after many revamps and a lot of other internal changes, a lot of it is left largely untouched. We still have many models and cool looking images for it, but for now at least it seems like a lot of those people have moved on, whether they're working on the new Fallout 4 New Vegas or even other projects. Then we do have the M1912. You guys probably remember this one because I covered it quite a bit in some of my upcoming mods videos. It was a work in progress mod by Kovodanga, a very well known mod author that used to post a ton of content, but recently has kind of gone quiet and not been as active on Nexus and posting work in progress screenshots. I just thought this thing looked amazing. I never actually heard of an M1912, but I thought it had a really cool aesthetic behind it. It looked like your traditional pistol that you do see in Fallout 4 and of course the modern times and things like that. But at the same time, it looked a little bit different, and I kind of liked that style. It was like unique, but at the same time still pretty traditional. I feel like it struck a really good balance in between interesting but not too interesting and different. I don't know, maybe I'm just not making any sense, but this is another one that I was really looking forward to. We got a lot of stuff, a bunch of attachments, in-game screenshots, but unfortunately the updates seem to have stopped about a year ago at this point. Similar to the previous one, we actually have a deliverer retexture. I personally love retexture mods for Fallout 4. A lot of the content and assets in the game by default looks pretty good, but it isn't always of the highest quality, especially after you use a bunch of different mods that are a bit higher quality. The Deliverer is probably my favorite vanilla piece of equipment. I just think it's the most interesting. It's a ton of fun. I really like how it's unique and has its own vibe going on with it. And I personally felt that this retexture would have been a significant improvement to that. Millennia is a very well-known mod author. He did have a ton of big mods for Fallout New Vegas. In Fallout 4, he has a few mods out there, but he definitely seems to have taken a step back from modding as a whole. He has a lot of work in progress screenshots or stuff, but not as many new releases. So we have the Armenian Vahan, I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but the real reason I'm disappointed about this one is not so much about the piece of equipment itself, but actually the mod author. Gosu's a really well-known mod author for Skyrim and of course Skyrim Special Edition. He has a bunch of different equipment packs over there that I've covered on this channel, and personally I just really like his stuff. It seemed like he was getting into Fallout 4 modding about 2 years ago. This image is actually from a post on the Nexus forums where he more or less was saying that he was waiting for the GECK to come out, and now that it finally had, he was going to get into some Fallout 4 modding. Again, this guy's created a ton of high quality content and equipment packs, which is so rare in Fallout 4 that I was really excited for him to make his entrance. Unfortunately, obviously he never actually released anything and only just posted this one image. So we have one of my biggest disappointments for mods that never got released. This is going to be the Energy Flintlock. So this was actually around early in the days of Fallout 4 modding. It was in one of the first episodes of upcoming mods. The Energy Flintlock was a pretty interesting thing, but it was more of a, I think, concept. The person behind it was a 3D modeler, and I don't actually think he had the capabilities or ability to put it in game, but I really wish someone else put this in game because it looks awesome. I feel like it would have been an amazing addition in Fallout 4 with people like the Minutemen having some of these rudimentary styled pieces of equipment, but having that futuristic technology to make them still viable. This one actually pops up on some of the different forums like Reddit and things like that every once in a while because people find this image and get so hyped for it, myself included. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. Again, if you enjoyed this content, you could leave a like or a comment. That helps me as the creator. It helps this video get promoted by YouTube's algorithm, which is always a fun system. But as always, to end this video off, we do have today's psychology fun fact of the day, and it's kind of a depressing one, or kind of, I guess, a happy, sad one. If you ever learned about things in psychology, especially when they're related to the brain, like different brain area functions or how different things in the brain interact with one another, a lot of times the reason we know how that works is because of an issue. Now, this isn't like a complete rule, it's just something that I've seen being a psychology student, almost finishing my degree at this point and taking a ton of classes. A lot of times when they understand something about the biology of your brain, it's because there was some person that existed that didn't have that functioning. Like a lot of things we understand about which parts of your brain actually work with memory is because people had an injury, that part of their brain was missing, and their memory was impaired in some way. So then you can connect the dots and be like, all right, so this is the pieces they're missing, and that must be associated with memory. And even beyond that, another way to discover a lot of things is actually testing on monkeys. So sometimes they'll injure the brain of certain monkeys or apes of some kind and actually evaluate their behavior and things like that. You may be like, oh, that's really unethical and immoral, but you have to look at it in the sense that that monkey or that monkey being injured has helped literally probably thousands to tens to hundreds of thousands of people, depending on how widespread whatever thing they're researching is and how common its occurrence is in a natural disease form. But either way, something that's just a bit of a morbid reality that, when you think about it, is kind of sad, but again, kind of a happy sad, because although all those people suffered, obviously we learn from them and then can improve people's lives going forward. That's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. Again, as always, I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.